Hey guys, how's it going? It's Blaze, back with another video. Y'all seem to really enjoy that One Piece market analysis video I did last time, so I'm gonna get into some more of that content. But first, I wanted to start the video off with like a little preamble and an announcement that I wanna make because I got so much growth off of that last video. I wanted to announce to everyone that I wanna do a giveaway to say thanks. And to everybody who likes this video or that last video as well, and any of the rest of the videos I do from now until the end of the year,
and subscribes,
I'm going to enter you in a giveaway to win this Gear 5 OP05 alternate art Luffy card. It is a very nice card that I just recently acquired from a friend's collection. Actually, I bought two recently, so one for you guys, and then one for me. I feel like that's fair. I also want to say that this channel is not just about One Piece market stuff. Obviously, that's a really hot topic right now, and it's something that people have actively asked me to talk more about on that last video. But as you can see, I mean, I'm a huge fan of One Piece as a whole, the actual game. These cards mean more to me than just potential investment pieces. And so I would ask that if you're investing in One Piece, if you're interested in getting into this game, maybe you're moving over here from other games because of how hot the market is, do research the property, try to get into the property, try out the game, participate with the community. It's a really incredible community, and it's gonna only help you to understand what's valuable. I really recommend it if you want to have a good experience in this community. It's very easy to do. Check out the property, read the manga, kind of try to learn the values of this series, because it's a series that has a strong moral to it. And I do worry that the overemphasis of profits and the market has the potential to offset that and to damage that. So if you want to be part of this community, be part of this community for real. Don't just pump and dump this thing and then move on to the next thing. Because to a lot of us, this game is really special. And I don't want anything to mess that up, and I don't want to be part of anything that messes that up. So with all that said, I'm going to switch over to my webcam setup and we'll take a look at some more card values. All right, everybody, back with some more One Piece market analysis. There has been significant changes since the last video I made. Obviously, none of this stuff is really changing. This top stuff, it's sitting. You know, guess what? Romance Dawn is still expensive. Red mangas are still expensive. Gear 5 Luffy, still expensive. Now, cases of unopened OP13 are still sitting around 3,400. These seem like they're going to hold there pretty well. I don't see a ton of people managing to get sales above that. This seems to be the going rate though. They're consistently selling 3,400. So I wouldn't expect too much to change on this upper end of sealed stuff. Now, where we are starting to see some changes is more in particular singles. So like, for example, the event singles are starting to stabilize a little bit. People are starting to realize like this card's going to get reprinted. It's a 25 to 26 Bandai Fest card, right? So next year at a lot of these Bandai Fest events, Card Fest events, I should say, these are going to continue to get printed. Some of these people, 13 sales, 0%. That's crazy. Don't buy from accounts like this, by the way. Verified, it's going for about 110. Recent sales suggest, yeah, between 100 and 120 is what you should expect, but they're starting to come back down, right? People are wising up to the value of this. Now, Roger absolutely exploded over the weekend. Right after I finished recording my video on Saturday that went up Sunday, that Sunday that my last video went up, this card just decided to skyrocket all the way up to $300. But is it selling for that? Kinda, not really, but kinda. So somebody bought one for almost 400. Yeah, so it was actually more like 400. People are buying these lightly played ones, 200, 250, near mint's like 300-ish. So it chilled out a little bit. It went all the way up to 400. That was a buyout. That was pretty inflated. That was pretty manipulated. And now it's kind of settling back down to around 300. That seems reasonable. When this card came out, it was about 200. It going up to about 300 kind of reflects where OP13 has been going. Generally, it appears to sort of be rising alongside what the going rate for this set seems to be. So I don't think that's too ridiculous, personally. But wanted posters in general are doing very well from OP13. If we look at the overall, the wanted Luffy is hanging out a little bit above where Roger's at. Well, yeah, sort of similar, around the 300 to 400 range. This is doing solid. Things are starting to stabilize out though, right? And they're not crashing. So that's something important to say. When we say stabilizing, they're not crashing. Does that mean they could fall in the future? Yeah, sure. They definitely could. But the immediate thing that we're seeing here is as these prices are stabilizing, they're not immediately dropping back down. Some of these promos, like we already saw the example of the Card Fest stuff, the promos were inflated, like I said in my last video. A lot of these promos, people didn't really understand what the actual rarity of the promo was, right? So they saw this, they saw it's event exclusive. They're like, oh, okay, this must be super, super valuable. It's a Luffy, it's event exclusive. Yeah, it's a cool card. I like this card. I have this card in my collection. I think it's cool, but it's not like if I go to Nats again in the next year, which, you know, there's a decent chance I will. Not Vegas Nats, but the next one. Actually, I don't know if they're going to give this card out after Vegas Nats. There will be more at Vegas Nats, though. So basically what I'm saying is there's a whole nother wave of these cards that like hasn't gone out into the ecosystem yet, right? So those are going to hit and this price is going to go back down. When I first got this card, it was a $45 card. I don't think it's going to go back down to $45, but I think it'll be maybe, like, I think 100 seems reasonable. It could dip back down to like 80, but you're seeing this actually take a dive here. I would think this card ends up around 70 to 80 bucks personally. But like the Roger, this all makes sense. The wanted poster is doing well in general. This all makes sense. This is reflecting the overall set. The misprint ace, this is only going to do better and better over time. You're seeing these hit $1,000 now for the error card. The wave of the reprint of this that doesn't have the error is going to drive what you see as the initial price on this down some. But the error version of this card, I think, is going to stay around $1,000, if not more, pretty consistently. Card has been officially errated. Yep. So, oh, hey, 6 Cents Games. Check that out. Hey, shout out 6 Cents Games if y'all are watching. Those are the homies. But let's take a look at the God Pack. The God Pack seems like it's hanging out around $450 a card. Oh, slightly played foil. I guess 600 near mint. But yeah, around 450 to 500 a card seems to be the pattern. that most of these fall into. Looks like they fell down a little bit, spiked back up, and now they're hanging out. Okay, well, this guy's going for quite a bit, actually. What is this, Saturn? Yeah, I mean, everybody loves Saturn. So the Mars is the least expensive one? That doesn't make sense. Because this is the most expensive of the alt arts. Okay, well, by what metric though, right? So between $400, $500. So the God Pack as a whole, it's going for around 2.5K. That makes sense. How's Sabo wanted poster doing? So Sabo wanted posters hanging out at around 170, 150 to 200. Well, these are all like 180. We'll see if this stays up at 180. I feel like this could come back down. But apparently Sabo's been getting really solid results in OP14. So from the player side, and that's something that a lot of you newer investors need to be looking at. You should be going and you should be looking at tournament results. You should be looking at what decks are doing well in Japan, because the player base of people who actually want to buy these alt arts for the purpose of blinging out their decks to play competitively at regionals and treasure cups and nats, they are going to be influenced by the prices of what they're seeing win or do well in the metas in Japan. And so right now we're in a situation where we're still behind Japan. Starting early next year, that's not going to be the case as much. It's going to become a global release. So we're not going to have this like future sight ability for Japan, where we see kind of what the meta in Japan is, and the US meta is a rough reflection of that has some changes, but generally sticks to that formula. That ability is going to go away. So you're going to have to start really keeping up with the meta then. And this is still a player-driven game at the end of the day. Once you get away from this super top-end expensive stuff, once you get out of talking about mangas, once you start talking about alt arts, this is a very player-driven game. So it's going to be driven by what the players are actually seeing. And this is some stuff I want to get into right now. More player-driven cards. These are falling. We're starting to see 5 Elders going for $45. These were 70 at the start of the set. That's 43% fall off. That's pretty crazy. I think this is a good time to buy 5 Elders cards. The actual 5 Elders alt arts, they're continuing to go down. Average sales are, wow, one sold for $22. That's great. That must have been Japanese. But Mars, hanging out around $40. This is the most expensive one. You got Nostro up next, hanging around 37, 35, 37, 37, 38, 39. I think he went down to 35. Yep. So he's come back up a little bit. The Mercury, still chilling around 35. Yep. The Mars, wow, Peter's really low now, actually. I'm sorry, not Mars, the Saturn's also around 35. You're looking at 35 for most of these guys right now. It's 33, cheapest one. But these more player-driven cards have kind of come down and kind of stabilized. I think this is what you're going to see the rates at. The Emu sitting at 44. Wow. This really dropped. I bought my Emu leader for way too much money because I bought it super early in the set. Another thing here that is pretty interesting to note is that this Luffy here, the OP13 leader Luffy, has really shot up pretty drastically, going from being one of the cheaper leaders in the set, down around $34, up to 50 or even higher in some cases it actually spiked up to around 70 for a little while. Looks like that. Yeah, you can see here 75 high price sale. For a few days it was hovering around 70. It looks like it's starting to calm down a little bit now. But this is an example, in my opinion, of something that is very much investor driven. It's named Luffy. It's an 01 in the set. This seems like not very player driven, seems much more investor driven than anything. This is not a super popular leader when it comes to meta play, but I do think it's a really nice art. I do think it's a really nice leader. I've got a copy of this, and in person it's a very pretty card. I like it, and it looks like it is going up significantly. I do think this may be somewhat inflated though. I'm not sure that it's going to hold this value. It seems like based off that high sale data and then what we're seeing the past few days, it's already started to come down, but definitely interesting to note that pretty much any card named Luffy seems to be going up due to collector influence for sure. Let's shift away from OP13, and I want to go back and talk about last year's anniversary set, OP09, because there's been some interesting developments here. Obviously, Gold Roger, this guy's gonna sit at a really high price. The few people who own these are really dictating the whole market for it, and that's gonna stay that way. This card, the OP09 Rush Luffy manga, seems like it's stabilized somewhat around $1,900, $1,800 to $1,900. Looks like it's come back down to stabilize around 1,800. I think this makes sense for this card. I don't see it going much higher. I don't think this is going to ever be a $2,000 card. Well, maybe it will be in the future. Right now, in the near future, I don't see it being a $2,000 card. But it'll get there eventually. Definitely not this year, though, I don't think. This Shanks seems to be hanging out around 1,300 to 1,400. Oh, actually, somebody just sold one for 1,500. Okay. Shanks still doing pretty good. But like you're seeing, if you look at these graphs, you're seeing a lot of this, right? You're seeing a lot of a big shoot up and then a flat stabilization where it goes up to the top. Something I want to talk about, because I called it, is the Nami. This card was never a $1,000 card. This card, really, if you're one of these guys here, if you bought this Nami for $1,000, and I'm sorry to the dude in the comments who, you know, was saying, oh, he thought the Nami would just keep rising. You kind of screwed yourself. This is, honestly, even at 800, this is ridiculous. It could go up that high in the future. This person who bought it for $596, this is like a $600 or $700 card. 800 is still a little too high. Market price 612. That's like reasonable. This should be about a $600 or $700 card. 800 is still a little high, but it's not going for $1,000, and people are starting to realize that. It's settling. Things are settling here, and it's settling at around where the BOA is settling, which is where it should be. Actually, the BOA's still a little lower in terms of listed price, but these two cards should be, yes, this is around 500, 600 to 500. These two cards should be about similar. Maybe the Nami a little bit higher by $100 or so, but the BOA settling around 500 and the Nami settling around 600 to me makes sense. I think they'll both be $1,000 cards someday, potentially in the future, but at the moment, what you're seeing here seems reasonable. Buggy manga is kind of chilling. I think this manga is pretty cool. 700, 700, 1,000. I would not buy this card for $1,000. It's buggy. He's always been one of the more underrated of the mangas. And I think that this price will go back down a little bit. As far as the Zorojuro SP, we're also seeing this. See, this is a pattern we're seeing across everything, right? The market is starting to cool off a little bit. The massive, massive bull run. I'm not saying it's over. I think it could still come back down some. But the explosive price growth seems to be calming down as cards are kind of settling at something closer to what they're actually worth. Now, that doesn't mean they won't come down more. Don't take it that way. They absolutely could still come down more. These wanted posters are doing really good. Luffy wanted posters, once again, gone up and around the time where I made my last video, things start settling down. All right, here we go. 500. This is a good deal. Lightly played foil, but still pretty good. Around 600. 500 to 600. Now, for some of the individual promos, let's go back to this. One Piece promotion. I want to take a look at some of the more famous ones here. Here we've got the Dodgers Luffy. This is the only other Luffy card that was originally drawn by Oda. You're seeing this is holding pretty steady at around 800 bucks, a little over 800 bucks. This one, somebody let this go for a little less. Probably just wanted it gone, but near mints are hanging out around. Oh, this is a moderately played foil. What did this look like? Yeah, you see some damage at the bottom, some scratching. Oh, this one's actually kind of messed up. It's actually worse than I was expecting it to be. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Yeah, significant damage all over this thing. What happened to this card? How do you let a Dodgers Luffy take that kind of damage? What's this one looking like? For lightly played. It's not looking beat up quite like the other one was. You do have whitening dots, some damage to the back. Yeah, dot there. Whitening on the sides. Still going for 800 bucks though. So I guess we would say the Dodgers Luffy's really, for near mint, seems to be pretty consistently at about $900. So that's a card that's really holding solid value. I don't think you need to be super scared of that card dropping super hard anytime soon. Let's check out this Treasure Cup Perona. This is an interesting one. Holding at about 1,000. What have the sales been? So it sold for 500, 800, 1,000 earlier. A lot of these competitive cards are going to hold pretty good value. There's no listings for this. Interesting. They're also going to be harder to get. A lot of the competitive players are not going to want to let these go. Let's check these out. This is one that's been solidly in the market. This is a top 64 card. Also, I kind of want to check on this because, you know, I have one of these. Let me see how it's doing. Looks like it's doing pretty well. Last sale at $750. I'm not sure people are going to want to buy these for $900. That seems a little rough. Average market price 436. I mean, that's, I don't know about that. 900. I mean, I don't think people are going to let these go for less than 900. Also, if you haven't seen this card, like, can I find a picture of this card? Yeah, like, if you see the detail in here, yeah. The way that this is foiled around the edges, it's really insanely cool looking. And, like, the texturing in the back, you got Zoro and Luffy hanging out on the ship. Actually, this particular card, the print here is off. Yeah. You do have to make sure if you're going to buy one of these, you get a good look at it, because they do have some centering issues on the stamping. Luckily, I was able to get a pretty much perfect one. But this card, if you ever see one in person, insanely beautiful card. Oh no, wait, where's my tab? Ah, yeah. So I think this one's going to hold a lot of value, because as well as being a high-ranking competitive card, it's also just super, super nice. This pudding, no real date on that. What's this? The Treasure Cup Luffy. Some good listings on this. This card's also pretty nice. I don't like it quite as much as the Nami, but it is a very nice card. I think the Nami is just a very unique card. Where is the most recent Treasure Cup Sabo? Where's the... Okay, here's the store Treasure Cup Sabo. This card's crazy. I did not know that the store Treasure Cups were giving away a card this nice this time. I really should have gone there. Looks like it's consistently selling at a little under 300 bucks. This is a card where I would say if you want to get into some of these really unique printings for competitive cards, this is one I'd be going for sooner rather than later, because it's only really going to go up. This is a 2025 card. There's not going to be more of these. The store Treasure Cup wave for OP13 is over now, so the population on this is not going up. It's going to be sitting here. And then it might go down a little bit when people who get theirs to actually put in decks are done, because I know some people really like Sabo, and apparently it does well in the next set. But it's going to go up after that, you know, for a while. Let's take a look at the 3rd anniversary winner cards. These are also pretty consistently selling at about 200, or a little under 300. These ones are cool. Wish I got one of these. It's the Black Clover artist, Yuki Tabata. A very unique, but very on brand looking version of Luffy here. Like, it doesn't look weird or kind of fake-ish like some tend to at times. EB02 Luffy manga also holding pretty strong. Last sale at 2,000. Previous sale of that 2,700. I would not let this card go for 2,000. I mean, this is kind of back to where it was a couple months ago. Whoever sold this, looks like 3 days ago, they must have like needed to get rid of it. I think this price, maybe not 2,700, but 2,500. If you have near mint, I would not let this card go for less than 2,500. I think it'll go even higher. I think this card is, to me, the only card, the only non like red manga or serial or stamped card or something like this that should be ahead of this is the Gear 5. I do not think that the OP13 manga should be ahead of this. I think this is destined to come back down. People are buying these at 2,500. Maybe it could be on par with this manga. But I mean, if you look at the population of these, there's so many more, and there's so many more being sold, and there's so many more that's going to be opened. Like, the idea that this card is worth more than the EBO2 manga, if you just think about how the print runs work, right? There are multiple waves of OP13. There are going to be even more waves of OP13. Inherently, this card is just less rare than the EBO2 manga. There will never be more EBO2. Maybe there'll be more people opening EBO2. Maybe a few of those people hit another Gear 2 manga. But there will never be less of these than there will be of Gear 2 mangas. And also, again, from the player perspective, Green Purple Luffy is a deck that has a real legacy. Green Purple Luffy is a deck that impacted the meta over many, many sets, and the Water 7 Luffy was a key card in that deck's win condition. The OP13 Luffy, if it's going to affect the meta in a significant way, it hasn't yet. Now, from a player perspective, you can go look at my Emu gameplay video where I talk about this. I think that this card and this deck are underrated, but they're definitely not like top 3 meta contenders. And I struggle to see a world where they are, unless it gets like really significant support printed that we haven't heard about yet. In OP15 or 16, it could be, you know, really top meta potentially, but not until then. Okay, so singles, all about where you would think. Let's take a look at sealed product. Let's look at, less interested in cases, more interested in boxes. So OP05, this is starting to come back down a little bit now. What are we looking at? Okay, so this is from an account that has 0 feedback on 173 sales. I would not trust this too much, but 750 seems like around where we're at on these. I could see them coming down more. I could see them going back up more. They're consistently selling for 750. If you have these, I would still sit on them. I think people who want to make fast money are selling them off now because the price got really high. We hit 800, but this box is destined to hit 1K, right? So it's like dipping down a little bit now. Sit on this for another year. If you have this, I would actually say just keep sitting on it. It's gonna keep going up. It's having a dip right now. This is not a dip where we freak out and we say, oh my God, the market's crashing, and we sell our boxes, right? This is a very slight dip. This is a slight stabilization. The market is beginning to stabilize. EBO1's still going up. Come on, sales. Yeah, 800 consistently. And we're starting to see that difference here. These EB sets, even though in terms of depth, I'm not going to go into the full card list because we did that in the last video. If you want to see the comparison of the depth of the sets between like EBO1, EBO2, OP5, OP9, OP13 anniversary sets, the anniversary sets are much deeper in terms of card value of what can be in the box. But these EB sets are going to hold value like crazy because of the sealed collector aspect. These boxes are low in population and they're never getting reprinted. Same thing with PRB. Now, PRB is an interesting case because they have the value and they have the low sealed population. These are all Japanese. This is, how do I skip to like the real English stuff? cosmetic damage. Seals cut. Random booster packs. Okay, yeah, this is verified. So we're seeing a little bit less value because this was more printed and it is a reprint set, but this is going to keep going up. PRBO 1 Manga God Pack. That's all you need to know. Manga God Pack. Now, where are we at? OPO 9 starting to stabilize at 400. That makes sense for this set. 410, 408, 36. So some people are trying to get rid of this for lower prices. But this is another set. This is never going to quite be whatever OPO 5 is. But as the next anniversary set, this is going to continue to kind of sit behind OPO 5. OP13 could pass it in the far future because of the red mangas. And I could see Emperors being seen as, I guess, the lesser of the anniversary sets. But the real ones know. The real ones know. If you open this set, you know. The hit rate on this set is way higher than OP13 or OP5. And those SPs will show up, and those SPs will continue to grow in value. EBO2 continuing to go up. This is going to be somewhat undervalued compared to EBO1, but it'll keep growing. Population will keep shrinking. Once again, these do not get reprinted. If it says EB, they do not get reprinted. And it has the Gear 2 manga in it. So OP2 still doing quite well. It's stabilized at around 400. Makes sense. OP13 continuing to climb all the way up to $300 a box. This feels a little crazy. I do not think this is a sustainable price for this set. I would not buy for $300. I'd wait for this to come back down a little bit. It's going to get reprints. It's going to go down. These, I suspect, are still not selling. I am correct on that. Now, somebody called me out on this one for saying, okay, well, this is a very, very rare box that was only available at One Piece Day. And they are right about that. But despite that, I do stand on... Okay, the thing about this box, this is one of the least liquid items that exists in the game. So it's rare enough that the people who own it are going to control the market price on it. And the value of the cards that are in it is very low compared to the value of the sealed box itself, right? But the thing is, finding a buyer for something like this at this high of a price is going to basically like make this price not real. Like it's not that the box isn't rare. From a sealed collection perspective, this is a very rare product. And that person who called me out in the comments is right about that. But it's not a product that you're going to be able to get as much value for as you think you would. Like when I said, if you buy it at this price, you're stupid. And that's because you're never going to be able to sell it at this price. Because the number of like hardcore sealed collectors for these illustration boxes and stuff compared to something like Pokemon, for example. One Piece is a much more player-driven game. A lot of the people who are really going to be able to buy your stuff are there's at least a higher chance that they're players. There's less of a chance that they only care about the collection aspect. And this is a box where it really only appeals to like the most hardcore of sealed collectors. I like the cards in it. I own multiple copies of this Rob Lucci that's in here. I think it's a really awesome illustration. Don't love that Bonnie, but that's the thing about that. That's why I say that this box is fake and that you shouldn't buy it at this price, is because it's just not liquid at all. PRBO2 only 250? What? That's surprising to me. I would think this would be higher than that. Still hanging out around 250. I mean, this feels a little underrated, not gonna lie. Let's take a longer look at PRBO2. What do you got in here? You got the Sanji manga. You got the Gum Gum Giant Alt Art. Pudding SP. These manga event cards, I think, are pretty cool. Wow, this guy is really... Wow, I sold one of these for way too little money. Okay, yeah, this guy's actually hanging out around like 200 bucks. These are really cool, and I did need the money when I sold it. These Gold Dons, the Nami ones, doing pretty alright. This is the main SP from the set that I think is really cool. Looks like we're doing good on that. High sale price 3. What? Why? That's fake or just stupid. I don't understand that. But this being around a $200 card makes sense. Maybe it comes back down a little bit. This is... If you haven't seen this card in person, it looks insane. And I do think how nice the cards look in person matters, actually. In One Piece, you'll get printings of cards where there's so much texturing, there's so much unique like gold inlaying. On this one, the border is like getting messed with. That things like that and the way they look in person, I do think affect how cards will hold up over time when people get them in the collection. Shanks, same deal. This card in person, absolutely insane looking. But yeah, I mean, I guess, how's the Alt Art Marco doing? He's still doing really good. This is a meta staple right now in arguably one of the best decks. Well, not arguably one of the best decks, arguably the best deck. But probably not. Emu's probably the best deck, but still very, very good deck. So yeah, I guess I can see how PRB versus 01, not super great. I think if you grab this and hold on to it, those SPs are going to age really, really well. And this price is going to continue to go up, in my opinion, over time. All right, y'all. Well, that about does it for me. We've gone over a lot of the changes. We've looked at how the market is kind of evening out and things are starting to stabilize somewhat, while we're also still seeing really big growth on certain things like wanted posters, for example. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, leave a comment. If you like, comment, and subscribe, you will be entered into this giveaway I'm doing. Let me go full screen. You get a chance to win this very pretty Gear 5 Luffy right here. Ooh, nice card, shiny, shiny. Yeah, so do that. I'll announce who wins sometime in January, and I really appreciate you guys' support and look forward to seeing you in the next one. I'm probably going to do some OP14 gameplay in the next one, and then check back in on the market maybe next week. So see you then. Appreciate you. See you next time. Peace.